Let's talk to Isabel Oakeshott, a sensible person, finally, to talk to in this first hour. Isabel, very good morning to you.
You're just making my morning. Matt Vickers, whatever he is,
sorry.
Deputy Chairman of the failing Tory party. I was thinking for the first sort of half of that interview, I was thinking, oh my God, well done, that man. I mean, you really are managing to put a kind of chirpy face on an absolutely bleak outlook. There he was all chipper, he was all cheery. He was saying that the party's united and Kemi's brought it all, she's got it all back under control. And then you started getting into the detail of the how long can I keep my petrol car for?
Right.
Now, I don't think every politician in every role should necessarily be expected to be on top of every aspect of their party's policy. So what he should have said there pretty early on is, I don't know. You know what? I've been really focused on 100 other things.
Yeah.
Made light of it. Instead, he tried to bluster his way, didn't he, for an agonizing kind of 5 minutes with different forms of I don't know, but I'm not going to admit it. And you finally nailed him. And then he, by mistake, took his earpiece out. That is going to go viral. It's a masterpiece in how not to deal with a question that you don't know the answer to.
It's like all of these things. I didn't expect to get all of that nonsense out of him. I just asked him a simple question, because I know that they used to have a policy which said that by 2030 you will no longer be able to buy a petrol or diesel car. Now, for somebody who likes cars like me, you probably not quite as enthusiastic as I am. I know Richard Tice has made fun of my foreign car, especially when the number plate fell off the back of it because it wasn't fixed on properly. And the point is that I love a petrol and diesel car, and I want to know whether I can still buy one when this one is about to come to the end of its life, right? So I want to know if I can continue to buy a petrol and diesel car up until 2030, 2040, whatever, right? But they don't have a policy. They don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, a few years ago, 2030 seemed a long way off, didn't it? But it's actually not seeming so far off now.
No.
And actually, I might surprise you, Mike, and say what I like is old cars.
Yes.
I have never had a new car in my life.
Right.
I always buy clapped out old cars, and I buy them until they basically die a death. It's the cheapest way of motoring. So as of now, I've got a 2010 VW, which is diesel.
Right.
And so that's the sort of vehicle that's probably completely condemned by every environmentalist in the world.
Excellent.
Doesn't do much mileage. Out here in the Middle East, I'm really looking forward to getting a properly mega gas guzzler. Because that's what they do out here. I want a proper 4x4 that's going to trundle over the desert.
Absolutely. Yeah, because petrol there costs about tuppence halfpenny, doesn't it?
Well, they actually bring the petrol to you if you're feeling lazy. You can actually get someone who comes in a van and fills up your car.
Right.
Anyway, this is all by the by. I just think that I think people are fed up of politicians talking policy wonk and weirdo language. How about just saying, you know what, Mike, you got me there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not the expert this morning on this particular bit of our policy. And it's the same with Keir Starmer. Business. What are you talking about? Just please talk to people in a normal fashion. Lose it.
Exactly. But of course, the underlying threat of what the Matt Vickers didn't say is that actually they haven't really changed their policy on net zero. I've spoken to Kemi Badenoch about this, and she said before to me, well, of course, we'll have to re-examine our policy on net zero, but obviously everybody knows the right thing to do is to become a green economy. And I'm sorry, I don't agree. And nobody does. A lot of people that I speak to, a lot of our viewers and listeners, don't agree that the right thing to do is to go towards a net zero economy. Because actually, it's going to cost us an awful lot of money. And we've got a bloody great big oil field in the middle of the North Sea, which Donald Trump has identified as a very good place to start. And we're not using it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what millions of voters have done is re-examined their policy towards the Conservatives. That's the reality. And they can stand there in a crowded room, a small room, and feel as if their party is going to survive what is, most people acknowledge, an existential threat from a proper Conservative with a small c party. And they're deluded. I listened to Matt Vickers talking about we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it's not even in a way any point in going into the detail of those proposals, because people are not going to forgive them for all the reasons why we are where we are. We don't want to hear how they're going to correct their own mess. And it just rings so untrue and so hollow for them to be complaining about what Labour has done over the last year and a half. You know, Labour, of course, has made things very much worse. But what Labour has done is build on the disaster that the Tories themselves created.
Yeah, exactly right. And I mean, this is where it brings us all back to sort of, you know, conference season's now over. You know, Reform conference, I think you would give a very big green tick to. Labour Party conference, not so much. You know, Andy Burnham came, went and disappeared. You know, Keir Starmer really didn't make much of a muchness about anything. Tory Party conference, very strange and sort of, you know, haphazard and empty, and I'm told really, really boring. I mean, don't even mention old Zach Polanski and his breast fondling in the bad brown stuff, and no sign of Rachel Reeves recovering from her terrible black hole. It's 84 billion now, and Keir Starmer still unable to kind of get his way out of the mire.
Yeah, I mean, the big themes now, you're right, Parliament's finally returning after what seems like an eternal recess. They have their summer holidays and they come back for a couple of weeks and then they go off again.
Yeah.
The big theme now will be the long run up to the latest budget I can ever remember, scheduled for the very, very end of November, isn't it? Or some I don't know the specific date, but it's very much later than it would normally be.
Yes.
And the small boats crisis, you know, one in, one out. Nobody seems to be talking about that.
I was hearing last night 1,000 people came yesterday.
Yeah. So that's not going to go away. We need some updates, don't we, from the new supposedly hard as nails Home Secretary about how one in, one out is going. I can provide that update pretty simply. It's an absolute disaster. It's a waste of time. And still they come. So those are going to be the key things, I think, in coming weeks. I think Kemi Badenoch has maybe slightly solidified a very wobbly position, but I don't think she lasts much more of the distance. They did manage at least to semi-hold it together at their conference. There was only one story I noticed about a kind of row between Alex Shelbrooke and some other Tory MP I hadn't heard of. But by and large, they managed to keep what is a very small and muted show on the road.
Yeah, I think so. And nobody really cares, you know, until old Matt Vickers came on my show, and now they might care about, you know, what an idiot he made of himself. But there we are. You know, it's a slow news day. 27 minutes past 9. Isabel, thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.